Welcome.
You are watching Line Screw 1.
Well, hello tubers, hope you're doing well wherever you are in this crazy YouTube universe. Today I am at an undisclosed location, but if you look carefully behind me, that's a cemetery. I figured it was apropos for today's video, because it is after all about the death of a brand, a once iconic brand called Bud Light. Oh, and don't mind the gunshots. I'm near a place where there are lawful gun owners. They're just having fun. So relax, you libs out there. Relax, relax. Now getting back to the Bud Light story, it's one of those marketing fails that's going to be probably tested and examined and massaged for years to come, because it's an epic failure. And that's what happens when you get one of these woke millennials in charge of an iconic brand. They try to introduce and invoke their own values, which are not the values of everybody. And when you're trying to market a product or a service to a broad range of consumers, you don't want to mess with things. In fact, if you were ever in charge of such a large, prestigious brand, the last thing you want to do is mess with things, which is exactly what this broad did. Now, you're probably wondering, what's the conservative Canadians' take on this? Well, I got a few takes. Oh boy. The first thing you got to think about the management team at Anheuser Busch, the people responsible for Bud Light, is that, wow, we've already lost, what, $5-6 billion in market capitalization from our stock. And they're in this horrible, horrible situation where if they actually apologize to conservatives and moderates who are deeply offended by that actual campaign for Bud Light, they're going to start getting attacked by the left. And it's just going to get things worse. So they can't double down and keep going with the woke, because it's going to completely destroy their stock valuation even further. And if they apologize, they're going to have rioting from the lefties that are violent and crazy, and they're going to have all sorts of left-wing liberal social campaigns that are going to be negative against the company. So they're in a really catch-22 situation. They're damned if they apologize, they're damned if they double down. So they're trying to keep kind of quiet. Now, I know there's been some releases from the company saying, well, we didn't really authorize it, which was kind of like a soft pedal apology, really half-hearted, that really didn't work. So I'm sure they're strategizing, but I think what they really need to do is that this broad who did this, she needs to go bye-bye. She needs to be fired. I don't know about you guys. You put your comments down below, but I think she needs to maybe learn about being a brand ambassador by cleaning toilets at McDonald's for a while. Maybe doing some lot cleanup, you know, all that trash that gets thrown out in the McDonald's parking lots. Well, she needs to maybe get one of those jobs, start respecting a brand, and learning to keep her mouth shut and ruining things. Because the last thing that this broad needs to do is start making more bad decisions and ruining that company, or even worse, getting hired by another Fortune 500 company and destroying their brand. Because I guarantee you, most CEOs and board members of these large corporations, they don't want to go that way. They definitely have learned a lesson from the Bud Light debacle, because it's just bad for business. Now, I'm not saying if the ultra woke want to promote some ultra woke products and services, good, that's their base. But when it comes to beer is a universal product consumed by almost everybody, other than maybe the ultra religious or the health conscious. But look, everybody drinks beer. And this is 2023, where there are so many brands of beer out there that you really don't have to suck it up and drink that Bud Light. And as for me, I probably only drank a couple cans of Bud Light in my life. Bud Light was one of those brands that I never liked. And in fact, when I used to vacation in my vacation property down at Palm Desert, I used to buy a case of that Bud Light just to give away to other people because it was cheap and I didn't particularly like it. But that's just me. Hey, there's so many brands out there. So it's affecting people even here in Canada because obviously we're aware of the story. Bud Light's never been as iconic in Canada as it was once in the USA. When I say once, like literally a few weeks ago. I'm just wondering, what are they going to do with these millions of cans of Bud Light that are just going to rot on the shelves? And shame on you, Bud Light. I don't know. I think what they're going to have to do, like I said earlier, is step one is fire that vice president who did all that nonsense. Her name escapes me, but I recognize her face because she's all over the media. She must be so proud of herself for what she's done. But, you know, it kind of reminds me of what happened in the 80s with New Coke. You guys that are older remember New Coke. That turned out to be an original fail, but they managed to pull it back up when they brought the original Coke Classic back out. So, anybody who's in charge of these brands, don't mess with things. If things are selling and things are doing well, leave it be. Just hands off. I'm a Canadian. You don't poke a sleeping bear. I mean, when I see a bear, there's actually bears around here actually. If I see one sleeping under a tree, my first instinct is to get a nice sharp stick and poke it. No, that's not going to work out right. And that's what they did with Bud Light. They poked the bear, and now they're suffering the consequences from the rest of us people who are sick and tired of this nonsense. Now, I know some of the libs out there, they're saying, oh, this is just part of the news cycle. It'll just go away and the conservatives will quit complaining. I don't think so. I really don't think so. I don't think our memory is that short. When I see a Bud Light for the rest of my life, I'm going to think, oh, wow, I remember. Wow, I remember that brand. Because I'm sure Bud Light won't be going away completely, but its heyday is over and done. And just like the corpses behind me at this cemetery, Bud Light is dead and buried. Can we have a moment of silence out of respect for Bud Light and its once iconic brand? May it rest in peace. Amen. So, you guys put your comments down below on what you think about the Bud Light debacle. I don't care if you're a left-winger, you are welcome to make your woke comments in my comment section, should you dare. For the rest of us moderates and conservatives, I think we know where we stand, but I'm always interested in your take on this developing story, because I think we have not heard the last of what's going to happen here. And let's just hope and pray that that vice president who destroyed Bud Light and caused all these billions of dollars of market cap from the shares to vaporize, I hope she gets her due, because she earned every little piece of misery that she did to herself and to the brand and to beer drinkers and hardworking North Americans everywhere. Because after a hard day's work, we're not going to be popping a Bud Light anymore. No siree, Bob. We got hundreds of other brands out there to choose from, and that's what we're going to be doing as consumers. We're choosing to not go woke because none of us ever want to be broke. I know it's a cliche, but it just applies right now. It just totally applies. And it's really satisfying. And am I smug about it as a conservative? Yes, I'm smug. Guilty as charged, Your Honor. But nothing wrong with being smug when you're right almost all the time when it comes to this type of nonsense and the culture wars. Oh, come on. I remember the beer wars between Rainier Beer and Coors and all that back in the 80s. Well, do we really need a culture war with the woke when it comes to just beer drinkers and hardworking people? I don't think so. But put your comments down below. Hope you're doing well, and I shall talk to you soon. In the meantime, stay safe, keep your nose in the ground, or nope.